Welcome to the UX Monday. This event is organized by Association of UX Association. Yeah, that's the proper name in English. And my name is Tobias VBRL, and I'm so happy to see so many of you here tonight. We have a special night today because we try to experiment with the way how the UX Monday is conducting. Today we will try lightning talks. Just to briefly mention what lightning talks are. It's a 10-minute long talk combined with 5 minutes question and answers, and we will have 5 of those. 3 will be in English and 2 will be in Czech. So those of you who don't understand Czech, don't worry, it will be over soon. Then we can start with English again. And it's mix English, Czech, English, Czech, English. So you have enough time to go to a toilet or grab a pizza or whatever in the meantime. So don't worry about that. I'm really happy that so many of you decided to came here tonight because it really matters to connect in person, to know each other in person, and to just talk over the pizza or over the beer that we usually go to after this event to Veranda Potrefenhausa over there. So if you have time tonight, please continue with us and go to have a beer or other non-alcoholic or alcoholic beverage with us. It really makes sense. So without further ado, let me greet here the first speaker, which is Martina Klimešová. Martina, come here. Yeah, like a huge applause. Martina will be talking about the field study they conducted at Kiwi. And it's a funny thing because Martina has a colleague with her here from Kiwi as well. And on the last UX Monday, we had also someone from Kiwi, so Kiwi starts to be like a really important part of UX Monday. So welcome, Martina, and it's really nice to have you here.
Thank you. Hello. Hi, my name is Martina. I'm from Kiwi.com, and I'm a UX researcher there together with Domi, who's our almost next speaker. And today I would like to talk about a field study that we conducted at Kiwi. So first things first, field study. Why? Because it's an adventure for us, because in Kiwi we sell flight tickets and we travel and we love traveling, and we wanted to experience it from the other side. So let me introduce Kiwi a little. As I mentioned, it's a web page that sells flight tickets, but it's not the only thing. It doesn't end there. It's also a travel companion. It goes with you to the airport, prepares with you, waits with you for your flight, and hopefully goes with you to your final destination. And it's something that's very hard to test in regular research or regular study, because airport, the rush, the noise, the stress around traveling is very hard to just mock or to test or pretend with the regular study and setup. So that's what field studies are for, because we want to see the reality. We want to experience the problems. We would like to see if the app is actually doing its job, if it's supporting you for all the struggles that you might have, that we might not know about because we are not there. Oh, now it's working. Cool. So, once we decided that the field study is gonna be it, we had to make the team. And it was me and my colleague Yanis, and we got to planning. So I mentioned flight tickets and traveling means traveling abroad. And we decided to try tricky itineraries. That means that the ones that don't go directly from your destination to, from your origin to your destination, but you have some sort of layover on the way. So we created a plan. And we decided to go all over Europe testing our most challenging itineraries we have, which means changing airports, traveling with checked baggage that you have to claim and check again, and the fast layovers, which means where we have just 1 hour to make it to your connecting flights. And we felt ready. We felt that we had the plan, we had the trip prepared, and we were ready for everything, we thought. But we were not ready what came. So, first part of the trip was from Prague to Calgary, Sardinia. And in this, we went from Prague, where we started, and went to Sardinia over Milan, where we had to change airports. In Milan, there are 2 airports, quite far away from each other. They are about 2 hours by 2 buses. You have to go to Milan, find another bus, go to the other airport. And we felt ready. We felt prepared. We knew it takes time. We had 5 hours for the layover. Except there was already delay on the first flight, so we didn't have the 5 hours. We had barely 3.5, so we are stressed. And we were in Italy. Italy is a beautiful country, but not very English ready. So we were running around, asking, praying to find something. What we did, we made it to the other airport, and we found out that the connecting flight is delayed as well. So there was no reason to rush at all. But never mind, we made it, sat, waited at the airport, quite happy. And we continued, and made it all the way to Sardinia. Another problem arose there. We made it to the airport, but we had to go to the hotel. It was still about 40 minutes by bus. But we arrived later because of the delays, quite around 1 a.m. and with only 40% battery left, with no place to charge at this airport. Okay, we're like, let's take a taxi. Let's make it to the accommodation. There were no taxis. Because throughout the week we were traveling, there was a taxi strike throughout Italy. So there was no taxis anywhere. There were also no buses anywhere because we arrived late. So we sat down, cried a little, prayed a little, and suddenly a bus appeared. It was a magic bus that nobody knew where it was going, why is it there. We just got on, hope it goes to our city, watched the little drop on the map going and prayed, and it went to the city, and we made it to the beautiful city of Sardinia. And all was well, until we continued the next day to Dubrovnik. So we said goodbye to Sardinia, and through Rome went to Dubrovnik. Here we were testing baggage itinerary, which means that we took these 2 beautiful bags that we bought in Sardinia, checked them in, and sat on the flight and went. However, only one of the bags made it to Rome. The other disappeared. So again, I might see a problem. We saw perfect opportunity for research. That's exactly what we wanted. We wanted these real-life scenarios that could happen. That meant we could contact the customer support and see how that goes. That meant we could talk to the people at the airport and see how you solve such issues. And it ended well. Like the bag 3 months later called us that it's in Split for some reason and made it all the way back to Prague. So we got our beautiful bag back. And made it to Dubrovnik with just the 1 luggage and continued the next day back to Prague. And we felt, okay, a lot of things happened that we didn't expect. Can it be any worse? Let's see. And this itinerary we are testing was the most challenging because it was the 1 hour layover. And we felt stressed already. Then message from the airline arrived saying that 1 hour might not be enough, that they recommend 2 hours and 30 minutes because of the increase of traffic. And we're like, 1 hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, that doesn't seem up. Like, what are we gonna do? Again, beautiful problem that we found because we could again contact the customer support, speak and try to solve it and really feel what it's like to be a traveler using our product. And we made it to the airport. It all kind of clicked somehow. We ran everywhere. we made it. We just rushed through these lovely French people shouting everywhere. As the gate was closing, we made it. And it was the best feeling ever. It was like Indiana Jones in the last minute, just sliding. And we made it home. And I was never so happy to be home. And that's why field trips proved to be really important, because what we thought was reality and that we are prepared for it showed up with so many problems, like delays, or the fact that we lost the baggage, or that there was a taxi strike in the middle of nowhere, or that there can be a very low battery that you cannot charge anywhere and you just have to roll with that. So I say, do test your products. The truth is out there, not in some lab or in a study. It's, you need to see what all your product needs to face, what all your product needs to handle, and how you can make it better, and how you can make it even better. And that's it. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
You missed the most interesting part. What were the bugs? Like, what was there? How big was the report? What did you find out? And
Again, thank you. Very good question. We felt prepared, and we thought we will have one beautiful report, quite long, but one. We ended up with 4, and the reporting took, I think, a month and a half. Like, we were just reporting more and more insights from the field trip. So again, it proved we were scared at first that we have nothing to report. Everything is just going to work smoothly. There will be no problems. Everything will just wonderful, and it unfortunately wasn't. So we have still things to work on.
Wasn't this more of a mystery shopping than a field study?
It was both, I think, because we went with my colleague, and he used Kiwi.com, and I used the competitor app. So we combined it. We first purchased the tickets, and then went and actually used the product in the field where we were trying to see what information is provided, if it's enough, if there are any ways we could improve. It was also a little bit combined with a diary study where we were writing down how we felt enough support from the app and so on. So I would say it was more field study than mystery shopping.
Thanks. Any other questions? Yes.
Hi. It seems like the stress and insecurity are those biggest pain points, right, on the journeys like this. Insecurity, what will happen in the airport, or if the bus is correct, and so on.
It's definitely a big part. We were traveling during the peak of holiday, during the Heathrow breakdown, and so it was the most challenging time there was. So there was some stress, definitely, and we were testing the most difficult itineraries we could have. So stress was included from the beginning, but that would be okay. We were also really watching. We were trying to see if how the app aids you through this situation, because traveling can be stressful, traveling can be painful, can be difficult, but traveling is awesome. Traveling brings you knowledge, traveling makes you happy. So we are trying to keep these things there and see if we are helping with the less pleasant part of the traveling.
Yeah, that would be my question. How can a digital product help with that kind of stuff? Do this, like, manage the unexpected in the way that it's pleasant?
I think definitely, because as much as situations are bad, if you know how to deal with them, if you have the information, if you know where to ask, if you can ask because you speak the same language, because there's no language barrier, then it can help through this. So information mainly, and just feeling that you have somebody with you, somebody that can help you with that.
Thanks.
So you were when you were struggling, you have some issues. You were contacting support on Kiwi, or to who you were speaking?
So we are testing both Kiwi and a competitor app. So first we try to see if within the app they give us enough information we can use. If not, we contacted customer support of Kiwi.com and the competitor and talk with them if they can help us. That was the main source of the information.
Okay, we have space for one more question. And I will be the one asking that. Sorry. My question is, how do you conduct the emotions from this experience to other designers, other stakeholders in the company, since I guess it was quite intense.
Very much so.
Yeah. So how do you do it?
Well, that's also one of the biggest advantages of field studies is that you can experience it yourself. It's one thing when a traveler says to you, well, I missed my flight, I was stuck at the airport. It's completely another thing to be in the middle of midnight in Sardinia with nowhere to get to your bed. So it's through presentations, it's through speaking, it's through sharing. Throughout the journey, we keep everybody, all the stakeholders posted. So we were doing regular posts saying, oh, we are now here, we are doing this, we are stuck or we are okay, and sharing also the emotion throughout the trip. So they were there almost with us. So they were like, please make it, we want you back, we are with you. If you need anything, just call us. And we're like, no, we can make it. So they were invested from the beginning through us sharing the journey throughout the trip.
Okay, thank you. And last question.
So I just wanted to ask if you already have some like proposals for some updates for the app based on this research, and if you can mention them.
A little. We have, as I mentioned already, 4 reports, and from that we have already proposed new features that are being implemented. We have improved a lot of features that we had. So yes, the impact of the research was great, even better than we expected.
Thank you. Martina Klimešová. Let me introduce Filip Štochl with his presentation about PhotoVoice.
Thank you. So goodbye. Good evening, everyone. I'm Filip, and I would like to give you a short intro to the PhotoVoice because I think it's a pity not much people know about this powerful research method. So I'm Filip. I am UX researcher, and currently I work at ŠKODA Auto. I won't specifically talk about our internal projects because I can't, and my boss is here and she's listening. But before joining ŠKODA Auto, I work here in MSD, so it's great to be there back and see some familiar faces. So if you are a researcher, you probably know that doing virtual ethnography can be sometimes painful. We are doing it because we can't go to observe people like face to face for COVID restrictions and whatever reasons like that. So that's why we are usually conducting some ethnography studies remotely. And this is like a sneak peek what methods in ŠKODA Auto we used for mapping our customer journey. So basically how people buying cars, not specifically ŠKODA, but in general. So we use diary studies, one-to-one interviews, like several rounds of that, and focus groups. And you probably know that diary studies are like a industry standard for virtual ethnography, but I think sometimes it's challenging to conduct them, and why? Because basically some people don't like to write, and the outputs you got are like not enough. You spend hours of building up questionnaire, you need to set up some logic, and you also need to ensure that people can run it on their devices. If you are doing it remotely, you need to choose a good platform for that and stuff like that. And because it's participatory method and participants collect data for you, there's high risk of garbage in, garbage out principle. So if the data was bad, you can't make a good summary report of it. So what is PhotoVoice? PhotoVoice is like a method, and you just get rid of filling out some text and switch to photos. You just there's some infographic of a PhotoVoice process. So first you onboard your participants into PhotoVoice. You can hand over them some cheap cameras, for example, or mobile phones. It's great that almost all mobile phones nowadays has camera in it. Second step is participants collect the data. They basically snap pictures and individually, and then you ask them to bring their pictures on a one-to-one interview with you, and you have opportunity to ask about these pictures, why they took it, what's going on them, and you can better analyze it. And the fourth step is you can run like photo exhibit on which you share all images with the group. You can talk about it. You can pair up with some quotes, and it's a really good thing for some communities or people that you observe, that they can see that they are not alone on the topics they experience or suffer. So PhotoVoice can't make it easier for participants. What does it mean? It means you don't need any special equipment or skill. In extreme cases, people don't need to know how to write or read. So that's why this methodology is really accessible and inclusive. So almost everybody can do that. All people have some awareness about how to take a picture. People usually don't mind taking pictures. I don't want to say that people like to do that, because not everybody, but it's more convenient for them than writing some long texts, I think. And photo is a rich information source, so you can already see some context on the photos, and you can ask follow-up questions just by seeing the photo. And you can collect a good amount of data in a relative short time. So it's a not new method. It's with us since, I think, 90s, and it's commonly used as a tool for some social change. Some NGOs use it, or some social workers. It's a really good tool how to emancipate some social excluded groups of people, for example. My example, I never ran it in ŠKODA Auto, but I did a research with PhotoVoice method included for my diploma thesis. I focus on how social interactions of Gen Zs change during COVID, and because of PhotoVoice, I collect 85 photos, and I was able to analyze it and quantify some results. So you can see some graph on which you see that even the COVID restriction, people still like to meet outside. Second was chatting, meeting at restaurants and cafe and stuff like that. My second output was doing virtual exhibit. Because of ethics reason, I decided to never share the photos that participants took, and I just generated some AI picture of people that never exist and pair it with the quotes they told me during interviews. So main takeaways from this. I would be glad if you will be aware that this method exists after this session. Photo can say thousands of words, and sometimes it's better than conducting diary studies. I won't say that's like a godlike method that will solve all of your issues. It's not, but if you do it correctly, you can like experience it's less burden for participants and researchers. And if you need more info, you can visit photovoice.org. There's a lot of guides and manuals for it. And I know that some courses led by Lucia Schubert are happening in Human in Need, Člověk v tísni. That's all, and thank you, and feel free to ask questions.
Thank you as well. Okay, so questions. Raise your hand and I will run over to you. No one. Okay, 2 of you. Good.
Thank you. So how did you actually brief your participants in your research? So what did you tell to them? Like, take photos of the interactions you have to remind you later in our speech or in our talk, or what did you tell them?
I think I told them like every time you experience some social interactions, like going out with friends or chatting with some of your friend, please try to take a picture of this interaction. So try to photograph how you were enjoying your coffee outside, or you can take a screenshot of your favorite video game, whatever.
Okay, another one.
Thank you for the presentation. I have a question. How did you analyze the photos? Because I presume it's unstructured data. And how did you apply, I don't know, my thinking, standardization of those photos? Or how did you approach this information? As you said, it's very resourceful material.
Yeah, so basically I made a table in Excel, and in this table I tried to like analyze every picture. So I fill out what's going on a picture, with whom, like if they were like interacting with I don't know, parents or friends, for how long, if they told me that during interviews. So I like basically analyze pictures like this.
I wanted to ask about, let's say they take pictures and then you have an interview with them. How do you eliminate like recall bias? Now they're trying to explain a lot of what the picture was about, but I assume it's not in the moment, it's after a while. There's a lot of like describing of emotions or situations. How is that kind of removing any of this bias and making sure that this reflects the picture that they actually took?
Good question. I think you can't remove these biases. Like you still experience some bias almost in every research that you take. But I think pictures were a better reminder for them than anything else, I would say, because they just take a picture for I think a week or something, and they can recall it really easily. So that's also another benefit of this method.
Okay, I will be again asking the last question. Have you tried the PhotoVoice on yourself? Like those 85 pictures now was like yours pictures or not? You showed. And if not, have you tried on yourself and conducted?
No. it were pictures from my participants. I got like 10 participants, and I never tried on myself. But I think it could be like a good journal for you.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Huge applause. Another speaker is Dominika Palivcová. She's also from Kiwi, and I will leave the space for you.
Hi. So hello everyone. I hope you're excited for the last talk of today. And I will be talking about gentle research democratization with usability testing bento. And as you can see, I already tried to use all the fancy words in the title, so I can explain them all during the talk. So don't panic, don't worry, you will learn about everything. First of all, like few words about myself. I'm in the design for like 7 years, and I used to be a UX designer, that kind who does everything during the process from research to high fidelity. But then my heart called for research, and that's what I do for 3 years in Kiwi already. And outside the office, I'm a huge fan of crafts, local design, and local brands. And I'm very crafty overall, so I do 3D print and sew. And we actually even have like tiny slow fashion brand together with my mom. But today, I'm here to talk about research, right? And I think it's very important to mention the setup that we have in Kiwi, so you can understand how the process went and even why. So I think it's safe to say that we have a research as service approach, which means we have like 5 researchers who are dedicated to work on product. But those researchers are always cooperating with multiple teams. So I'm going to give you example. I work together with Martina, and we are providing research to 5 product teams. And those product teams always they have their designer, product manager, and of course the technical team. So yeah, our domains that you can see in the bubble are quite big. And it means we have always a lot of designs, and it means that we have always a lot of requests for usability testing. And this was our main motivation why to democratize some parts of the research, because we wanted to have more time for more interesting projects, maybe even the field studies that Martina mentioned. So I already mentioned a couple of times word democratization, and it's like a tongue twister, and you can read the definition here. It's from the internet, but shortly it means that people who are not researchers are conducting some kind of research, and you as a researcher are supporting them in doing so. And this is the most shocking slide of today. We are definitely not the first company who does democratize research. It's a trend that's ongoing in the world like for a couple of years even. But this was good for us because we could learn from the mistakes of others and don't repeat them. And there are some trouble connected to democratization. So first of all, people are encountering like lower quality of research results, because when you are a designer and you are testing your own design, your own baby, no matter how good you are, you will be always biased, because we are human and this is how our brain works. You will always assume something because you worked on the thing for I don't know how long. And then messy processes and research all over the place. By that I mean suddenly everyone's doing research, and you as a researcher find yourself in a very hard times, looking for where, who, how, is it good, is it bad? And in the end, you also find it hard to preserve the knowledge that you gain in the studies, because they are all over the place. So our formula for success at the beginning was to avoid known problems and tailor the process for our contexts. And this meant that we will start small. And we start just by democratizing unmoderated usability testing, because we felt like this is the easiest thing to start with when it comes to research. And we also piloted everything with a smaller group of designers. There's like 20 designers in the team In our team, we have 5, so we were like, yeah, you are our guys. You are definitely testing this out. First of all, we mapped the process of usability testing, and we were checking, okay, where are the pain points when we should definitely step in and do something so we can be sure that we are not repeating the problems that I mentioned on previous slides. And we decided that we are definitely going to provide feedback or help with research questions and tasks when it comes to testing, and also be there when the study is piloting and launching, so we know what we are showing to the participants. And finally, to fight the biases that I mentioned, we are also present in the analysis phase, when we definitely at least like go through the recordings very briefly, to be able to discuss them with the designer and provide them some feedback and like sit on it together. So after we piloted this with the first designer, it was time to formalize everything. And now I'm finally going to explain what I meant by bento. Because in this process, our huge inspiration for us was approached by LinkedIn. They are doing this for I don't know how many years, and they call this approach research bento. They have like a set of templates and everything you need to be able to conduct research solely on your own. And I really like the name, but of course, like as I mentioned, we are stepping into the process. It's slightly different, and it's like for our environment, so we have our own unmoderated testing bento. And the bento is actually a full package, so you have their templates for research plan, for analysis, even for JIRA tickets and reports. And most importantly, you have their guidance, description of the best practices, and finally checkpoints that you should like always go through and see where exactly you are in the process. And how's it going? Like bento was published, I don't know, in summer sometime. And since that, I think it's quite a success, because we really feel that we have more time for discovery research, interviews, mixed methods, everything, you name it, we want to do it. Then I feel like there's also a boost in collaboration overall, because back then when we were preparing testing, it felt like you are playing tennis with the designer, you know, because you ask question, okay, what is supposed to do with it? Then you are collecting stakeholders' question, then they preparing your prototype, then you need some modifications for prototype, and you are going back and forth. And now it feels more natural, and you are really like working on the thing together. And we also created common language. This is like a side effect of using a word bento, because it's quite common that you hear designers saying, okay, let's do it in the bento style. And everyone knows, what does it mean? How does it look like? How is it going to end? So that's pretty nice. And also other teams and even like different roles of stakeholders are interested in using bento. I think the last request was from content writers that they would like to do their sort of their testing as well, which is great. And lastly, I prepared some takeaways in case you will find yourselves at some time, at some point, that you might want to go through this transition as well. First of all, be gentle and start small. I think this played a very good role in our process, that we weren't like, oh, we are democratizing everything, and suddenly you do interviews and you do surveys and everyone's doing everything. No, step by step, get people used to it, as is how it works. Then know how research activities fit into workflows of your stakeholders. This is also very important, because then you can clearly understand what's going to be the pain points and when you are where exactly you are going to get stuck. Because, for example, when a designer, or from our experience, when a designer watches the sessions, you get the feeling that you already know all the insights, and there's not even a need to report anything anywhere, right? You saw it, and that's it. But then it's good to make it very easy for designers to create at least some brief report, so others can use this knowledge as well. And finally, don't just create templates, really design the collaboration process, so everyone know what they are doing. There are clear steps. You know what's the next step, what was the previous step and where are you heading exactly. And yeah, that's it. I will be happy to discuss your setups with you if you are going through similar thing or you maybe did some kind of democratization. And yeah, I'm open for questions.
Thank you so much. Okay, we have questions.
Thank you for the presentation. I have a question. What inspired you to switch to bento, and where did you get this idea from?
Yeah,
thank you.
To be honest, at first we were like very not into democratizing anything. We really felt like researchers have some specific knowledge and it's good to have it in the process. And we were kind of against it. So that's also the reason why we did it just this year. And the main motivation, as I mentioned, was really the fact that we were just too overwhelmed with the requests for testings. And you can't put into production without testing, so someone has to do them. And in case like you don't want to scale the research team, which wasn't the case, you have to solve it otherwise. So that was the solution.
Good evening. I would like to ask you, you are realizing usability testing and research in-house without professionals from research agencies. I would like to know, were there moments when you needed the help of research agencies?
Not really. I think so far we didn't have project that huge that we wouldn't manage in the team. Yeah, I mentioned 5 researchers that are working on the product, but there are even more that are not like focused on the product, but more on discovery research. So far we always covered everything in-house and there wasn't really a need for agency help.
Okay, I'm interested in how did you recruit the right designers for this pilot? My question is whether they want it or you need to somehow motivate them?
So far we didn't need to motivate anyone. I think everyone was pretty like excited. If they didn't have the experience with testing, they were happy to learn something new and gain this knowledge for their career. And yeah, so I think their motivation was like really learning something new. And our approach wasn't like, okay, do our job, thank you. It was more like, if you want to do it, you can do it. We are here for you as a support, but definitely this is on our back and it's up to you if you want to do it or not. So this is like a natural change that happens in the team.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I was wondering, you said you suddenly have more researchers in the team, you have more sources of research artifacts. How do you collect them and share them between all those somehow researchers?
Oh yeah, that's a topic for like a whole talk, I would say. We have inside database, we have like many sources, then reports database. Now we are going to have Dovetail with the tagging system. So it's a lot, and we even tried some different solutions that didn't work. But it's really like progress in 2 years, and we are still not there, so it's a struggle, to be honest.
One more question? If not, then I will thank you, Dominika, for your talk.